Welcome to Conscious Living here at the Specially Produce Network. We are so glad you're here to support your lifestyle with the fastest growing resource for conscious families. So sit back, relax, connect, and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conscious Living. We're here live in San Diego, and I wanted to introduce my most amazing guest. I'm so excited you're here today. This is Helice Sparky Bridges. Welcome, Sparky.
Hey, hi. Oh, hello. This is gorgeous, by the way. The studio, everything. You're magnificent. I love you already.
Thank you. I love you, too.
Thank you. I receive.
I receive. And today we are talking about an amazing subject. Really, it can be quite big, can't it?
Good.
Uniting the world.
That's right.
Right. And how do you perceive uniting the world for everyone today?
You know, one of my colleagues who created a press release for somebody, Jill Lublin, said, we're in the divided states of America and the world.
We sure are.
And so, just in that concept right now, I think while we can visualize what divided obviously is in this country,
right.
What the united part of bringing us all together, sometimes it looks very, very giant.
It does.
But I'm really talking about us being a whole person. And everything I'm going to be talking about this morning is about simplicity and connecting each other soul to soul in a minute or less. We can actually unite our families, our kids in school, our communities, our country, and the world in a minute or less.
We sure can. And you have that formula, that remedy, that opportunity, and that potential for everyone.
That's right.
How would you describe it?
I'm 77 years young now. So about 40 years ago, I was a millionaire, but I was married to a really brilliant entrepreneur who was also behind the scenes in the home, controlling and intimidating and verbally abusive. And I was a successful businesswoman. We were both very successful, gorgeous home on the ocean, all that, and mom. But after a while, when somebody chips away at your self-worth, you don't really realize it's subtle, and I try to be right for him, the woman behind the man kind of thing, but very successful in my own right. My soul, my spirit, I didn't even know I had one, actually. Well, it started to like a what do you call a raisin? You know, like a grape shrivels up, and I didn't know until all of a sudden there was nothing left in me. It went like I'm dead inside and wanted to commit suicide.
Wow!
And I chose to do that and drive my new Mercedes off the cliff. And I was a mom and a businesswoman and successful and having everything. And I want to honor the process of, it's inner wealth that creates uniting humanity. Yes. It's our inner wealth. It's our esteem for self. It's our knowing why we were born and why we're here. That none of us, at least for me, I wasn't grown up in it.
Right.
You know, I was reading, writing, arithmetic, get married, have children, you know, maybe get a job, pay the rent.
Absolutely.
Get a mortgage, whatever. But to have a self or to know who I am was foreign.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, and this is kind of cool, I left my husband. I prayed to God, I prayed to the heavens. I just fell sobbing on my knees, and I said, stop the world, I've got to get off.
Yeah.
And find a place where people love each other. And then out of that, may I tell you how I got into the Blue Ribbon ceremony?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please share.
I'm about to tell you how in a minute or less you could change a person's life. And my work has reached about 50 million people around the world. We've ended bullying, violence, raised self-esteem, made dreams come true, brought families together in a minute or less. It's proven. I'm going to share how that happened. But really, to go from where we are to where we want to be,
Yes.
Sometimes we don't even know where we are.
Correct.
And we don't have a clue where we want to be. We just want to be loved.
Right.
And respected and honored and heard and understood. And it's pretty basic, but if all of us want that, we can't get it from anybody that doesn't have it.
That's correct.
I didn't have it. So when I left my husband, I heard a voice that said, you got to make a difference. And that was in 1979, so that language wasn't around. And I went and I became co-chair of the San Diego Hunger Project.
Wow.
And I began to go to assemblies at kids' schools.
Yeah.
And I stood up there and I said, here's how you can help end world hunger. And it wasn't feeding people food.
Right.
The Hunger Project wasn't about that. It was knowing who we were that could change the world. It was an inside out. It was consciousness.
Right. It was an inside job.
It was an inside job. And so while I'm speaking and I'm inviting people to help end world hunger, after kids and parents and teachers would come up and they'd say, one boy says, my father just lost his job and we're losing our home.
Wow.
A girl says, my mother's got cancer and we don't know what to do.
Right.
Somebody else says, my brother just got arrested for drugs.
Wow.
And I came home and I said, I'm going through a divorce. I have no idea how to help. But I meditated on it. And what came up is I thought maybe people needed to be loved like me.
Yes.
And I created a blue ribbon that says, who I am makes a difference. I don't know if you can see this up here, but it's on my...
It's a beautiful blue and gold ribbon that says, who I am makes a difference.
Yeah, this simple ceremony. And I went to my kids' teachers and my neighbors, and I went up to them and I said, I have this blue ribbon for you, and I want to honor you and tell you how great you are.
Wow.
And I just told them, I said, thank you for helping my kid with his math. And my neighbor, thank you for mowing your lawn. Just simple stuff. I just said it. And I said, may I place this ribbon on you? Has a little sticky on the back. And I said, and they would go, and I said, could I put it, it goes above your heart. Can I place it above your heart? And they go, okay. And then I would place it above their heart. And then I'd take the spark in my heart and I'd say, I'm going to make your dreams come true, I'm going to take the spark from my heart and put it in the ribbon. And the sound is bing,
bing.
And I made them laugh, and I go, cool, and I gave them 2 extra ribbons and said, here, go honor other people. And in the process of people doing that,
wow,
35,000 people were honored in the first 3 months.
Wow.
And so...
That's a railroad train going fast forward.
It is, and here's the good news about fast forward for anyone that's listening here that has a peak of a dream.
Yes.
A peak of a dream, and you don't know it because if you put it out there, somebody's going to... The consistency in our culture is to call you crazy, dumb, you don't have enough money, you're not old enough, young enough, something like that enough.
Right.
And the internal conversations that we all hold, me included, less and less now than ever before, but we say to ourselves, I'm not enough.
Right.
I can't matter. Nobody understands me.
Or I doubt that can't happen.
I doubt if it can happen, exactly.
Yeah.
And I wrote some notes down here, which I'm going to just kind of give you a little of the statistics about conversations, of the inside conversation that does not connect us soul to soul or unite us,
right,
which divides us. But then I'm going to give you a way to bridge where you are to where you want to be in a minute or less so that you can actually transform your relationships in your family,
yes,
relationships in schools,
yes,
with your businesses, organizations, wherever you are, where people are. And basically, and this is Psychology Today magazine, says 1 out of every 20 people feels sad, worthless, and hopeless. It's Psychology Today magazine. And for every hour, according to the Children of Domestic Violence, for every hour there are as many as 115 children are abused.
Yes.
And then 2 out of every 3 are verbally or physically abused in our country. And suicide, I know about suicide, but suicide is the number 3 leading cause of death among kids 15 to 24 years old. So how can we change that?
Exactly.
So would you like to know how?
I really would, especially that bridging.
I thought you'd love that because we were talking about my name is Helice Sparky Bridges. Everybody calls me Grandma Sparky, kind of like that now because I'm 77. But I'm cute and I'm adorable and I'm young and and you can't mess with me, okay? Because I've been with the Bloods and the Crips. I've been with the Arabs and the Jews. I've been all over the world, and you could split an atom to a quark. People need to be loved, and you could bring people to their knees and hug them, and love works. It works. It's not complicated.
And it works every time?
It works every time, and in fact, I'll show you some science behind this, but let's see where I'm at because I made some notes, and it's kind of cool that I'm doing this. So let me give you the bridge.
Yes, please.
And the bridge is this because I'm writing a book called Flat World, Round World, Out of This World.
I love that.
And it's so cool because the title, for any of you that are writing, the title came to me 8 years ago. I'm still working with this. Okay. And I had to actually become it.
Yes.
But flat world for me is our blame, our shame, our judgment, our opinions, our separation, putting people down to build ourselves up, or putting ourselves down because we're intimidated by another person. And the results of that is that we become depressed.
Yes.
We withdraw, or we lash out through drugs and alcohol to numb the pain, or violence.
Yeah.
So basically, the flat world model, in school, they circle what we did wrong.
Right.
They put a big red note on my thing when I went to be put in a paper. Years ago, my teacher puts minus something or another on the time. She minus this, and she said, get a dictionary. Because I couldn't do the dictionary thing. I couldn't spell.
Right.
But I turned out to be an author.
Yes.
So my book, Who I Am, makes a difference. But I get editors. But nobody told you could get somebody that could, do that, or spell check.
Right. Spell check nowadays.
So flat world it's always pointing out what you're doing wrong.
There you go.
And it's a fix-it model. You look at what's not working and you try to fix it.
Fix it, fix it, fix it.
And Einstein says significant problems cannot be fixed at the same level that created the problem. So
That's correct.
You want to look at what's working. So there's a bridge that I discovered for myself from flat world to round world. And it's an invisible, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to do a meditation on Sunday, rainbow bridge.
Yes.
And to your higher self. And basically it's invisible. But you can't be with this energetic force of negative quicksand, I call it.
Yes.
And you can't breathe anymore. And either you're going to pop out and, get a divorce from your job.
Right.
Or you're going to uplift yourself by going to coaches or trainings where we can elevate ourselves so we can elevate our kids, our families.
Correct.
The businesses we're in.
Yeah.
And so we go with this bridge, and it really needs mentoring, support, and authenticity and vulnerability, because over here we're trying to look good.
Right.
Here it's like, hello, we're just a human being just falling all apart, and we just don't even know where we're going yet.
We got our issues.
We got it's the truth.
Yes.
Look, I'm looking really beautiful, but maybe my hair wasn't right today. You know what I'm saying? It's all what, I got to sit on my face, We're going to look at what's not working. And so the bridge coming across really takes those kind of pockets. A lot of people go to AA or other, in those kind of meetings.
Yes.
Other people go to their churches or their organizations. I recommend getting a really good mentor. I'm one of them, but I'm just saying that I have mentors coaching me.
Right.
And I get to coach other people to become leaders of leaders, youth and adults. And then you get into round world, and this is the fun of round world for me. When we first got in round world, we meet people like you and I who are up to something, and we are so juiced. It's like,
Right.
Wow, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. But exactly, we can't hear each other, really. I say it's like we're at Disney in bumper cars. We're bumping into each other going, I got a ribbon and it's going to go all over the world. And you're yelling, I want to be this producer and do the podcast and make health happen in kids' consciousness, right?
Right.
But we're all screaming at each other and we have no idea. We can't hear each other. Because
Right.
I had to get my own brand, my own wisdom, and my own expertise in the model.
Right.
In round world, eventually we're all hanging in there, and we get seasoned.
Right.
And we learn what we know and what we don't know.
Yes.
But we do it with reverence of each other.
Absolutely.
Over here, somebody's going to tell you what you do wrong or try to push you into something you're not.
Right.
And you'll lock yourself into a job you hate.
That can be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, you're in this free-falling, I don't know-ness.
Right.
But everybody all around is catching each other.
Correct.
And then all of a sudden, we become seasoned, like you and I are right now. We become seasoned like it's quiet.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I can help you. What's your vision? What's your dream? How can I help you? Bing.
Bing.
That's the sound of making dreams come true. I'll ask you after, what is your dream? How can I help you? What do you need? I can do this. I got that connection. You go, I can be here at the podcast. Let's do something like that. And I go, oh, that's so cool.
Exactly.
And then the out of this world place,
Yeah.
there is no bridge to that. It just is.
Right.
And it happens, I'm going to tell you the science behind it.
All right.
May I?
Yes, please.
But first, I'm going to show the blue ribbon ceremony. Just so I'm going to break it down for everybody, and I think it's over here. And I'm going to show you how, in a minute or less, whoever you are, wherever you are, and think of it, if you're the head of a corporation, or a multi-gazillionaire,
Mm-hmm.
or you're a kid, or you're a parent, or you're a teacher, or a scientist, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or anything, this sucker works, okay?
It sure does.
It works. And it took 35,000 people to be honored in the first 3 months. After 3 months I started this, you couldn't quit it except I had to discover what I had, because it was you walk out my house and paparazzi be following me everywhere, scare the bejeebies out of me. But here it is. Up to 35,000 people were honored. My team of 12 that did this, kids and adults, walked out and I said, honor people, here's ribbons.
Right.
They came back and told me what worked, and we discussed what doesn't work.
Right.
What works is when I hold a ribbon up and I look you in your eyes from my heart, and I say your name, and I'm going to do this with you right now so you can feel this. I don't know what your name is, but I know that I want to honor you. And the blue ribbon says who I am makes a difference, and I would love to honor you and tell you how you matter to me. The fact that you're listening to a program about consciousness and kids is the kid inside of you and your children. And if you're a child and you're watching, you matter. Your life matters. You're up to something. Your soul has a purpose. And we're all here to cultivate that, to nurture that, to honor you, and to let you fail as a million times as you need to elevate yourself, because without risk, there's no rewards. You're going to take trials and errors, and hopefully you can get some good coaching. And would you accept this gift to remind you that who you are matters? Thank you. May I have permission to place it on you? It goes above your heart, pointing up toward all your greatest dreams coming true. And when you look at this ribbon, I'm going to take the spark from my heart and put it in there. It's a sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is bing!
Bing.
And every time you hear a bing, you're going to know that a child just got their dream. And it's tradition for me to give you 2 extra ribbons. Go honor somebody and pay it forward. Pass it on. And that's the ceremony.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful ceremony. And here's why it works. And I just want to honor, this is right here. I'll put it up so you can see it.
The inside story, understanding the power of feelings by the heart-brain connection. Oh, the heart-brain connection.
Yes, heart-brain connection. By the way, this is heart math. This is science. And I was just talking to Melinda Dewey, and she is a new friend and a colleague that I said to her, there's something about the ribbon, and I don't know the science behind it, but could you tell me? And what she was able to explain, because she is a trainer for heart math and also a coach and a brilliant woman herself, she told me that, and I don't know if you could see this on here. It's a little distant.
A little graph.
A little graph. But the graph is this. When you honor somebody or show appreciation, according to heart math, the resonating frequency of the heart is a wave like this. It's just a soft, sweet wave like that.
And it projects out of our body.
And whatever the heart feels will speak to the mind. Now, if you are not in a coherent frequency, or you're worried or over anxious or frustrated,
a little bit in flat world, maybe.
You're in flat world, thank you. And what happens is your frequency is so crazy that the brain will react to that and keep you in the lower evolution of your brain, which is fight and flight, where you're going to fight somebody or going to flee in that area. But in the resonating frequency of that calm, sweet love, which every time I honored somebody, something occurred, that the healing occurred so quickly. And I'll share some of the story in a minute. And what happens is the heart, in that resonating frequency, coherent frequency, she says, coherent frequency, all of a sudden goes up to, bypasses the reptilian state of the brain and goes right up to the neocortex of the brain, where you get the ahas, and the frontal lobe, where it's the genius part of you, and it goes boom. I know exactly what to do. Now, how can you do that for 20 cents? You know, the ribbons, you get them, by the way, all of our ribbons are printed, hand-cut, packaged, and shipped around the world in 12 languages by our adults with disabilities. So we pay them for that.
Yes.
And so you know that before you even get it, the love that's inside of these ribbons.
Yes.
So like $20 100. And, but there it is. There is a calmness about it. So what I wanted to bring in is that over the years I was doing this without knowing the science, and I was doing the science anyway.
Right.
That's what you do when you hug your kid.
Yes.
When somebody walks in and you smile at them and give them eye contact, it's what happens when you listen without telling anybody what to do.
Yes.
In Round World, we just want to listen and say, tell me more, and what else? And that is an art.
Yes, it is.
Listening is an art from the heart. May I go on and say more?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what I wanted to show you is this is what kids are doing in schools, and it's pretty cool. And this is consistent. So I'm getting all these letters, individual letters written to me from, it's in a high school. I'm in San Diego here, but one of the high school teachers purchased ribbons and gave it to her, all of her classes. And it's like 140, 160 kids. And she said, go out and honor people. She gave them each 3 ribbons. And come back and write the stories and tell the stories. And so they wrote the stories.
Yes.
And she graded all of them, by the way, just so you know. They're handwritten, and asked them to type it up and write and send me their letters. So I'm
beautiful.
receiving them every day.
Like by the buckets full.
By the buckets full, okay? And they're each individually, it's like it's not coming in a package with all the kids in one package. It's coming individually,
Mailed
50 cents a piece, mailed to me, okay? And I'd like to just give you a kind of an overview.
I would love to hear what the kids have to say.
And by the way, what this boy is speaking about is pretty consistent with what all of the kids are saying. It's just that I picked this one out. And he says, my teacher wanted us to be a catalyst for change. And what I realized is that we don't have to do something very big to, like walking on the moon. We don't have to do something that big. We can do something small. And he said, and in a way, I've become a catalyst for change. He said, I took the blue ribbon and I decided to honor my dad. And when I moved in with him in 2015, and he said, what I told my dad, he said, is that whenever I doubted myself, you cheered me on and said I could do it. You motivated me. You reminded me that I can matter in this world. And I honored him with my whole self. And he said, and I gave I said thank you to my dad and gave him two extra ribbons. And he then my dad decided to honor his group leader at AA.
Wow.
And he says, I watched my dad honor his group leader. And he said, because my dad, he said, I'm now sober and I'm with God. And I know God, and thank you for that. And then the third ribbon he passed on to his group leader, who honored his wife.
Wow.
And told her how much that she made a difference and it was an amazing woman. He said, the boy says, I'm not very emotional, and my dad isn't, but I watched us all both cry when that happened. And he said, it felt really good to honor people and let them know how much they make a difference. And he goes on to say, the ceremony is quite moving to my soul. So much so that now it's uplifted my whole household. We're all talking about what we like about each other. It's changing our attitudes toward everything. In my school, in my classroom, all the kids are talking about not what we don't like about our teachers and about homework. We're all talking about bigger stuff that really matters. We're talking about our dreams. And then he goes on to say that in a world of violence and bullying, this can end with kindness. He says, because, like Martin Luther King says, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Darkness, and then he says, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that's exactly what you're doing. With the Who I Am Makes a Difference Blue Ribbon Ceremony, this should be an international holiday.
Bing. Absolutely. Bing.
And that's just one letter.
That is so beautiful. Letting the light in.
If it's so complicated, when I first started the Blue Ribbon Ceremony, I didn't know what this was. I used to weigh the ribbon on a scale at home. I'd come home and I'd sit down and I'd put it on a scale and I'd say, I don't understand, you don't weigh anything. How do you do this? With HeartMath and the conversations of the brain science, and I think most of us know that when we walk into a classroom and the teacher asks us a question and we raise our hand and we may not get the answer right, but a great teacher will say, thank you for trying. Good try.
Right.
I appreciate it, instead of, what's the matter? Didn't you study? Which one of my teachers said, and I burst out crying and ran out of the room.
Yeah.
And because I tried really hard.
Right.
And after that, I never raised my hand in class again.
Right.
Because we don't want that rejection. You want to be empowering.
It diminishes our expressions.
Mm-hmm, it does. And sometimes what I'd like to do in this case is I have a special treat for our producer.
Our producer.
And I want to call her in right now, please. She is magnificent. I actually just met her, but I want to show you how in a minute or less, when you see somebody that you admire, that you can actually don't have to know them for a long time. I'm going to take there's a sticky off the back of this ribbon. I'm going to take the sticky, and we never throw sticky on the floor. We put it in the table or something.
Your producer appreciates it.
That's right. No, this is right, because we're going to keep the environment clean.
I'm a big environment person.
And this is a blue ribbon for you, and it says, who I am makes a difference. And what I love about you, and I want to honor you for, is, God, your eyelashes are so cool.
They're fake.
No, it's like your smile, your hair, your outfit, your body. I mean, you look... No, seriously, I'm looking at her. She's, I just met her. But mostly what I like is your focus and your presence. Because you stay present in the moment. You got a lot going on in the studio that, really, and behind the scenes. But in that moment, what it is that when we first met, we're in this
Especially
Produce
Produce Network.
Network.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold here. It's all fresh stuff, right?
Yes.
It's really fresh stuff, and we're coming in where we're warm, and you bring the warmth to my heart. Would you accept this gift?
Absolutely.
May I place it on you?
Yeah.
It goes above your heart. Where does it go?
Right above your heart.
Yeah, right above your heart, up toward all your greatest dreams coming true.
Aww.
When you put that up someplace on your computer, in your visor or mirror, wherever it reminds you that who you are makes a difference and that I love you. And it's tradition for me to take the spark from my heart, put it in the ribbon. It's the sound that makes dreams come true. And the sound is bing.
Thank you.
And every time you hear a bing, you'll know a child just got their dream and that we're all helping each other. And it is tradition. I have a little packet here for you. Hand me that little packet. Yeah. And those other 2 ribbons. And in this packet, it's tradition for me to give you the 2 extra ribbons and the ceremony right here. And this is the ceremony right. It says upside down. You'll see it in a minute. It looks like that. So it's a ceremony. 7 steps on the back of how to do the ceremony. And I'm going to invite you to honor somebody and pay it forward.
Absolutely.
And then capture the story. Take a picture of, if with their permission, put it on Facebook and say, we're bringing the bing because the goal is we're at 50 million. We're going for 1 billion. 1 out of every 7 people on the planet. There's more than 7.5 roughly. And being honored so that we can point to what's working instead of what isn't. We're in 12 languages. And we're inviting everybody around the world to take a picture, to send it to us and say what happens and write letters like the kids. And so we can pass it on. Is that good?
Absolutely. Thank you.
I would give you a hug, but we got all this stuff on us.
Do a side hug. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be
You're
a part
welcome.
of it.
Good job. Well done. Congratulations. Yay.
Yay. Thank you. Wow, what a moment. It was just adorable and to witness and to see and experience the love shared. It really was. It's very endearing.
You know, when you asked me to honor Danielle, she didn't know before.
Right.
Yeah, it was a surprise to her. And what's such a love thing for me is that in the moment when we see somebody that's working, whether it's a waitress working hard,
Right.
you're in a restaurant,
Right.
the tip, if you just reach out in your purse, your wallet or whatever, and honor that person, and they will come back to you later and say, that's the best tip I had in 22 years.
Absolutely. I mean, you inspired me as a critical care nurse to really bring this process into the hospital and into the intensive care unit. And really the first person, and you said so eloquently, when we receive this process, we know instantly on who to give it to next. And really what inspires me to give it to, obviously, is all my colleagues and all the persons and people we work with that really puts the healthcare piece together. What really the part closest to my heart is the kids, is the patients, is the children that are really working to create health in their bodies. And some of them know that they can, and many of them aren't sure.
Right.
Parents, all others, aren't sure how that child can actually participate in its own process, even when it's asleep, on medications, on life support, whatever it is, but it still can connect and create its own healing from within. And to honor the children that I care for and the rest of us care for in that way, I know that we can start to illuminate their health even while receiving technology advanced processes to support their life.
You know, I'm going to bring in a couple of things that you say because you can have an idea to bring it to the hospitals, right? Which we have done, or other people have done, and who are nurses, and decided to honor their patients and give them extra ribbons to honor the people that come in and their doctors, and it's brought the whole community together.
Yes.
You just did it recently with your daughter.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with that in a second, but what I want to say is little kids, when they get honored, you know, little tiny kids, preschoolers and so forth, that's where the Bing came from.
Right.
By the way, I was teaching little preschoolers, and with my team of leaders, youth and adult leaders that I train, and we brought them into a little preschool, and we got them in circles, and I would honor the first little boy who was to honor the next little person next to them and all the way around. It was like 6 to a team.
Yes.
And we'd never done this before. And all of a sudden, I honored the little boy next to, and I told him whatever I said, and I placed the ribbon above his heart and so forth. Then he goes to honor the next little kid. This is like 4 years old, okay?
Right.
And he says, "You're not my best friend, but you're almost my best friend because you play Army with me. You're not really my best friend, but you're almost my best friend." And so he says, and so because of that, I want to give you the ribbon. And so all the other kids are wiggling around. They want to get a ribbon. They want to, So I said, everybody, when we place the ribbon above the heart, I want you to all say, I'll say, where does it go? And you all yell, the heart. And then I say, then I want us to take the spark from our heart, because I'm Grandma Sparky, take the spark from our heart, put your finger up in the air and point it toward the ribbon and go, bing! It's the sound that makes dreams come true. And I made it up. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And they all go, bing!
Bing.
And now they're engaged all the way around. Everybody's happy and everybody's honoring each other. It's a miracle. And then I'm going to say something about children and then go back to what you said about the hospital and so forth and your kids. Next week I'm in my office when a businessman comes to visit me, and I'll honor him. And he said, I need a Bing. And I said, I only Bing the little kids. He said, seriously, I need a Bing. And so I binged him, and he burst out laughing like you did, Danielle. And I realized laughter is the best medicine, but nobody's doing it. I'll test it out for the ceremony. And I went to a high school that day.
Yes.
And I with the student leaders, and they all burst out laughing. And I went, I'll put it in the ceremony. And now what we're creating is Bing cities across America and throughout the world. 100 Bing cities, 1 million people honored in each city.
Yes.
I'll tell you about America's finest city, but I want to say something about what you did with your kids, and also for the little ones. The little ones will stand in front of mirrors. We've seen this for grandparents of Write Me and so forth, and parents, and they'll hold the ribbon up in a mirror, and they'll go, I like you. You're fun. Bing! And one of my board members' daughters, was 4 years old, she's 6 now, she put the ribbon under her pillow at night, and she said to her mom and daddy, she said, it makes dreams come true, and when I go to sleep, I know my dreams are coming true because the ribbon is under my pillow. This is what people do.
Right.
And what did you do with your family?
To honor themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. On Mother's Day, I had the inspiration to honor my daughter and my husband. And what was so interesting was, as it played out naturally and organically, we got busy, we got into the day's activities, and that didn't occur. And it was organic and beautiful and nice, and I had it in my heart to do it, and I binged them all that way. And then the next day was my birthday. And on my birthday, turning 55, I recognized I really wanted to honor my daughter and honor her in the opportunity that she brought to my experience in the honor of being a mother. And so who she is and was at the moment of her birth and all the way through our lives together was so important to me, because that honored who I am makes a difference. And I think a lot of times as mothers, we get busy, we work, we do these things, and we don't recognize how the birth of our child actually, in the process of creating children in our families, really does. We make a difference. And sometimes we get so busy and tied up, we don't recognize how much we really do make a difference in our own lives and in the lives of others.
And so what happened after you honored her? Who did?
I gave her boyfriend was with her at the time, and it was just a natural unfolding, and she wanted to honor her boyfriend.
Right.
And honor the work and the jobs and the opportunities that he provided to the community and to the children too, because he was so inspired to become a lifeguard and to teach the kids how to enjoy and be safe in the ocean.
So the ripple effect, yes?
It was a tremendous ripple effect, literally like the ocean.
Like the ocean. And you took film of this, video
Yes.
it, and send it to me.
Yes.
And I'm not very techie. So I said, well, what do I do with this so I can get it out? And then you made this, whatever you did. Just the other day, you just sent it to me, and I go, cool. All right. So it's like, here we have an idea. And just so you can know that the uniting the world starts really one little pebble at a time.
Yes. And it starts with this pebble right here.
It started with one spark, me, leaving a situation that no longer worked for my soul.
Yes.
And I didn't know it. And the minute I chose that, I fell into a world of people who were up to something.
Yes.
It just was that. I'm finished with Flat World.
Yes.
I'm kind of coughing my way through it because Rainbow Bridge didn't happen right away.
Right.
But I did put myself into programs, and I am invited all over the world to speak and train. And because of the ribbon, was on stage with the Dalai Lama and Vice President Al Gore at the Environmental Earth Summit, and surrounded by world leaders, 30,000 world leaders, sitting next to Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon.
Right.
You can't imagine that a simple ceremony and a blue ribbon of love
And compassion.
And compassion. I didn't have a book then.
Right.
I didn't have an audio. I couldn't even spell. Okay, but we meet at a place that's grand where people go, I know who you are, and I want you there because somebody else honored somebody with that ribbon and talked about this character, this beautiful, charming, adorable woman.
Right.
With
Who sparkles.
Who sparkles, who has internal wisdom, who's tripping over herself trying to figure out what I'm doing and trying to explain the simplicity of love.
Right.
And uniting everybody, and what God had coming through me was constant conversation, called together, community. All I heard back in 1979, 80, and I said, leave me alone. I'm going through a divorce. I do not understand together. I do not understand community. I can't handle this.
Yeah.
But yet, I find that people are not starving for food. More importantly, even though Maslow's hierarchy said food, shelter, clothing,
right,
nature's thing, I add love, right in the basic human need.
Right.
And then from there, you have a sense of safety, a sense of belonging, a sense of esteem for self, a sense of esteem for others, self-actualized, and you get to make your dreams come true, but it has to be cultivated.
Cultivated through love in each step.
Through love in each step. And what I want to engage people and have them participate with folks like us is I just went to the San Diego mayor's office, Mayor Kevin Faulkner, great guy, Kevin L. Faulkner, let me just say the L is important. And and I brought a team of about 25 of my colleagues, business people, kids, educators, scientists, and so forth, and I presented a concept in the mayor's office to be the Bing City, to have 1 million people honored, led by kids, in San Diego, so that be a part of 1 billion people being honored in America by December 31st, 2020. And I laid it out to here, Bing cities, bring the Bing, point to what's working, honor people, let them know that they matter. And so America's Finest City has become and has been declared the first Bing city in the world.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
It's amazing. And we've documented that. We've got people that were there. And now I'm working with the district attorney's office and people in this community, and other cities like New York might be the second one, Iowa, North Dakota I spoke to. These are people that have been teachers that have been doing our work for years, and I never knew them because they order our product.
Yes.
But I'm calling them now and saying, please tell me what you've done. And all of a sudden they're saying, so that my invitation is is whatever it takes, one person at a time, to honor in your family, to get a bag of ribbons. Ask Me. Standing Strong Together is coming up, my training program.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. We do. We need lots of education, understanding, and resources to learn how to stand together united.
Mm-hmm. And
moving from flat world to round world.
From flat world to round world to out of this world. So I've created a certification course for kids. They're 10 years old and up, and adults collectively. We're going to do this in August of this year. So if you're interested, just let us know, please.
Yes.
And you'll get the information.
You have the flyer in the comment section.
Flyer in the comment section. And just know that wherever you are or whatever you think you can do, when you're in a room of like-minded people who are up to something, we all help each other. We stand strong together. And things, I always say that when I look at a cactus and that flower pops out of a cactus,
yes,
I go, look, that's something bigger than I am.
Yes, it is. It's very remarkable to witness.
So let me see what else I wanted to say before we see what youth and adults. I said that, and the being. Oh, I'm doing good, aren't I doing good?
We are doing amazing.
I wrote all this down as I don't usually. I'm pretty extemporaneous when I'm on stage.
We wanted to share, really, to support the closing of the podcast, really about what are the emotional impacts. I mean, we talked about the young boy, right, who transformed his life and transformed his father's life and honored him in such ways that it actually changed conversations, right, in the home versus what are we going to go see at the movies this weekend, to really how we feel about each other.
Mm-hmm. So a signature story, you see the copy of my book, Who I Am Makes a Difference. The Blue Ribbon movie, it's the first story in the book, is a true story about a teacher in New York who went up to every one of her kids in her classroom. This is a high school senior class, and she honored each of them. And she told them how much they mattered. And she placed the ribbon with their permission over their heart, gave them a bing, gave them 3 extra ribbons, everyone, said, go out into the community. Let's see what acknowledgement can do in a community.
Yes.
And so the kids went out, and with that instruction, and this is a true story, that a high school senior went to a junior executive, and he honored him for helping him with career planning. And he placed the ribbon above the junior executive's heart, cheered him on for his dreams, and gave him 2 more ribbons and said, we're doing a class project. Later that afternoon, the junior executive went to his grouchy boss.
Yes.
And he said, I want to honor you for being a creative genius. You gave me the job.
Right.
And he honored him.
And he internally shifted from the grouchy boss to discovering the genius inside of his boss.
What happened is that he elevated to that level of connectedness.
Yes.
That unity. The junior executive, the kid didn't know it. He was elevated. He's honoring an adult.
Right.
His coach, who honors the grouchy boss, but the grouchy boss gets the extra ribbon.
Yes.
And to go and honor another person. He's driving home in New York traffic, whom I'm going to honor. And he decides to honor his 14-year-old son, sets him down that night and says, every night I come home, I yell at you for not getting better grades in school and not cleaning your room. But tonight, son, I just want to tell you that who you are makes a difference and that I love you. And with that, he places the ribbon above the boy's heart. And he cheers him on for his dreams. And the boy starts to sob, and he can't stop crying. And he looks at his dad, and he says, I was planning on committing suicide tomorrow, Dad, because I didn't think you loved me.
Wow.
And now I don't have to. And so, whatever you do, love somebody, tell them how much they make a difference in your life. Focus on what's working and cheer people on for their dreams. Because when you do, dreams really do come true. And we, together, one person at a time, can unite our families.
And
the world. In a minute or less, soul to soul. God bless.
God bless. Thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Sparky, for sharing this inspiration of who I am makes a difference.
It's fun to be ourselves, yes?
Yes.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. thank you all for listening to this podcast. We are so grateful for you tuning in and experiencing the innovations and opportunities we all can incorporate into our daily lives. Connect with us at centerforconsciouskids.com to sign up for the latest news that showcases these revolutionary services and products. Our global website provides families with an online conduit for enrichment and transformation in all our lives. Please share with other kids and families who would enjoy these advancements in living consciously. I'm Ashley Lee.